Welcome to Invicta Software. Today's demonstration is about the INVICTADesk. I'm going to show you a quick example on how powerful the Invicta software is and how easy it is to integrate into different modules. Let's start off from the desk itself. It's a very powerful desk which allows modules to be linked into the system itself. We have two processes into effect. One is add an incident and the other one is add a service request. We decided to have these two separate. The reason why: logging simple incidents into the desk itself allows the end users to log an incident, update an incident, close an incident. We then decided we also require something for the end users to request type of calls, such as requesting software, requesting hardware, and then pushing that request onto other third-party tools, that other modules that we might have into action. There are a number of tools that we have linked into, which we can show you at a later date. The key thing here is that the software itself, you can easily move these charts from one location to another. You can go along and drill down further into the reports by drilling down further. You can see how the reports are all laid out. There's a number of reports which are built into the system. Click down here: top 10 callers, resolved by analyst, by user, by department, by service catalog. Every one of these reports you can actually start drilling down further as you go along. The software also has what we call nice and easy tag cloud, which means that the more calls which are being logged by a particular category, the higher number of the volume of this information comes into place. For example, if we got a number of calls which is with password reset, all the password reset information goes higher and lower. As you can see, all these calls which have been logged by our password reset, our Invicta Pass. You can go down further. You can start seeing how calls are being tagged, computers actually being linked in together. My groups, you can actually start seeing the calls which are associated to me as an individual. As you can see, by category, by subject, by reported, by priority. And the priorities are all being set by the user, by category, and by the device itself. So you can actually have different types of settings. And you can also look at information, for example, workload list. So a number of new calls which have been logged, by number of requests, by their progress, and how they're being resolved, and closed calls which are being going on to the system itself. So you can actually start seeing all this type of information which is coming into place. You can also start looking at different categories by adding a new incident, adding a service request. Look at all my calls which are being associated. You can then go along and create new categories if you wish to go along and create new categories, new tag type of information. And also by scheduling of your calls. So not only are you sending calls to individuals, but also you're sending a task to an individual. You're sending a task list for an end user, which can automatically go into their calendar. An SMS message can automatically be sent. They can automatically pick up that SMS message, click on the link, which will take them into the web console of the product itself, which will allow them to update that record and start looking further information into that call. You got articles, which can actually start making sure the articles are associated to the individual calls, and then you can start creating further information by user, by active user, by groups, departments, locations. Very simple to install. The product itself is very easy to administer. You don't require as individual to actually have full-time information on this type of product. It's, like I said, it's nice and simple to install, very easy to administer. If I go along here, add a new incident, you can start seeing the calls which are being logged by the individual, by the user, by the department, by the device which has been associated, the impact, the priority list which has been associated for that user, and also assigned user for that individual. And you can start building your own calls which are like that. Add a service request, similar, but this time around it's actually looking at a service request. Service request has a different type of categories which are associated. And notice one of the key thing is, depends on your rights, you're associated to different categories here. So if I'm going to be the end user, I'll have a different type of category compared to the individual user which is logging the calls into here. If I go back into my calls, you can see that the calls which are being associated to any individual. If I come across here now to the end user's desk, in other words, as an end user, someone who's sitting on their workstation, working away, I can do key things from here. I can go along and create a new incident. I can log a call, update a call, and do various things. That all depends on the type of calls which I want to log into the system itself, what privileges I have got. So I can go along and make a new incident, request to do a service request. Now, when I do a service request, that can be linked into other modules, for example, INVICTAdesk or other tools which we've got, which can then deploy software and do other things. But here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log a nice simple incident into the system itself. And the key thing here is logging an incident. All the information is coming back from Active Directory. I don't know. I don't think many users will actually understand when they say I have to put a new username and a password in. This is straight NT authentication. I don't have to put the details in here. As you can see, I can do a drop-down list. I can go along and say I've got a problem with my mobile phone or internet or a hardware or a facility, whatever I require. By logging a call into the system itself, it puts the subject field in there, and you can actually, it's very configurable, so you don't have to do much configuration in here. I can say issues with hard disk. Now I can go along and add attachment if I wish, and just create a call from here. This logs a call into the desk itself. Not only has it logged a call into the desk, but it also sends an email back to the end user saying that the call has been logged, it's been updated. If I go into the call itself, you can see 1660 has been logged. By clicking on the URL link here, it takes me directly back into the service portal. But nice and neatly, it's logged a call, it's updated the call for me. If I now go back into the desk itself and just do a refresh on here, the call has now been logged. It's actually been progressed. If I go down to my calls itself, new incidents, new call list, it tells me everything I need to know about the call itself. So it gives me a lot of information on the calls. It sees how the calls are being updated, has seen how the calls are being progressed, and you can actually start drilling further onto the calls itself. One thing which is important to know within any type of software as you're logging these calls itself is the communication going back to the end users, the communication going back to the support analyst. What we're saying here is within this application, you got an SMS message, you got an email going back, you got a calendar invite, you got links which can allow the end users to update these records on the fly. Very nice and very simple. Each call, depending on who you are within the system itself, you get to see the different people logging on, and you may wish to see different screens which are being labeled out. The calls which have been logged into the system itself, you can go along and close these calls as they come along. So, for example, new calls or calls which are in progress, you can start going into the calls itself by information, and you can go along and start categorizing these calls and seeing how the calls are being updated and closed when you're pushing these forward. You can actually start seeing the calls which are being logged into the system into other priorities. In other words, that the higher the priority, the higher the call will go, the different call color of the screens. You can go along and change the progress of the call, make it a new select. Request a call information, the urgency of the call, medium, low, high, which has been associated. And one of the key things here is we've actually got the SLAs which are associated to the user, which automatically shows that the priority which need to be done within the system itself. So it's the tools can be overwritten, they can be overset. So it's entirely up to yourself how you wish to have this. We've set a limit as well for a 2 meg attachment on the file. We can increase that if you wish moving forward. But the key priority here is everything that we have is very nicely simple, integrated into Active Directory, which allows the end users to update, close, and modify the calls. Also allows the support analysts to see how the progress of these calls are being happened. Maybe they wish to close these calls on the fly from wherever they are. Thank you very much, and I'm sure I'll show you as the progress of these recordings go on, more details at a later date.